London's knife crime epidemic that we see running rampant domestically. Now, why is that? Let's look at some information. The problem of knife crime has been surging at various points in the last 20 years. I remember from being a young adult to a grown man. In addition, knife crime seems to be happening more commonly between early to mid-teenagers. However, in this current day, we see a rise in much younger perpetrators from as early as 13. Now, why is this? Could it be urban music videos that continue to disrupt peace, prosperity, and even fuel violence in low-income areas? That plays a part. Could it be the current toxic culture that youths are being brought up under globally, which channels pride within the youth and allows them to feel as if they are invincible? That plays a part. I believe that the primary problem is that the youth are seeing that knife crime perpetrators don't get a harsh enough sentence. In addition, we see a rise in under 18-year-old knife crime because they understand that if found guilty of crimes, then they will be handed a discounted sentence due to the law seeing them as a minor, even though they're fully aware of what they're doing. Would they commit such homicides in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, or even be flashy about the drug game in Singapore? I highly doubt it, because they understand the consequences for their actions would be severe. Even though they may not receive capital punishment pre-18-year-olds, the fear of capital punishments that's been handed to others would deter them psychologically from committing such acts in the future. In recent months, I've been covering some severe knife crime cases, such as the tragic Croydon stabbing of Eliane Andam, whereby in the morning before school, she intervened and tried to protect her friend from her ex-boyfriend, who showed up abruptly, which later ended up with her getting stabbed in the neck. This shook not only the Croydon community, but the country as a whole. Another case involved two 12-year-old males stabbing a 19-year-old male named Sean in Wolverhampton to death. Sean was stabbed whilst with a group of friends on the field. Now, the motive of the killing has not yet been known, but the two 12-year-old males were arrested at their homes. Another stabbing incident that shook up the country was the tragic passing of Harry Pittman, aged 16, and he was allegedly stabbed by another male around the same age. This incident happened at Primrose Hill, whereby crowds gathered to watch the fireworks display take place. And unfortunately, during the event, Harry Pittman would lose his life. Finally, let me take you back to the time that Conan was killed from the back by two 17-year-old perpetrators, Prabjit and Sukhman, who mistook Conan for another male, which they were having disputes with at the time. It's important for me to note that in between these cases mentioned, there's been several other incidents of knife crime. All of these cases are scary and make you think what kind of country the UK is turning into, whereby young teens have absolutely no regard of the law and couldn't care less about the law because there's no deterrent put in place. Now let's look at some solutions to this problem. Over the years, there have been several campaigns to promote awareness in relation to knife crime. Campaigns even involved politicians, music artists, actors. In the most recent case, Idris Elba, whereby he took to the streets to honor fallen victims to knife crime and put a proposal forward, which was to ban zombie knives and machetes.
And there was a ban on a dog, an American type of dog. It happened very, very quickly. It was specific. We need to apply the same measures to zombie knives, machetes, and swords and whatnot. And that literally examining the whole chain, you know, from those that are profiting, from the tech companies that are advertising it, from the way it's getting into the zeitgeist for kids. We need to figure out a way to just eradicate it. I'm just a parent. I'm a parent that cares for my children like I care for yours, Amal, okay? But I do think that having a soapbox, because I'm an actor, allows me to speak a little higher than some people, okay? I'm also a target as well, okay, to get criticized, but I don't care about that as much as I care about we've got to do as a society, look after our youth. Okay, you know, when I was 15 years old, the National Youth Music Theatre, the Prince's Trust, really steered my path. I was part of a YTS scheme, which was a government scheme that, you know, partnered with businesses to get youths a training program. Okay, where are those now?
However, with all the publicity knife crime has received, statistics still show a steady increase. So what more can be done about knife crime? After doing some research, I came across worldpopulationreview.com, and it says, open quote, countries with low murder rates, such as Japan and Singapore, benefit from effective law enforcement, strict weapons regulations, and severe punishment for crimes, close quote. Now, I want to pay attention to the last part of that quote, and that's severe punishment for crimes, because I feel as if the judicial system in the UK is way too lenient and doesn't hold knife crime perpetrators to a just and fair punishment in comparison with the crime committed. In this case, stabbings. If we look at sentencing for murder under the Sentencing Council, it states that if knife has been used to commit murder and the perpetrator is under the age of 18, 12 years will be their sentencing. However, in most cases, the full 12-year sentence never gets served. Perpetrator may be required to serve half the time in prison and then the other half upon release. Now, people may have their opinions as to why knife crime has run rampant in the capital for the last few decades, especially with ages under 18. But I've arrived at the conclusion that this is a result of lack of harsh punishment for the youth. In addition, them understanding that a discounted sentence will be handed to them if found guilty deters them even less. We can voice the issue via as many campaigns as we want, but the truth is, until under 18s actually respect the law, then nothing will change. I take it a step further and punish the parents or guardians alongside the knife crime perpetrator. Why is that? Because the love for his parents or guardians may deter him from carrying out such acts if he found out that they will be punished as well. In addition, I'd argue that it's partially the parent or guardian's fault, because clearly the kid wasn't raised well to begin with. And I'd puzzle the pieces together and say that the parent or guardian must have been an accomplice in the chain of events that led up to the stabbing. Sounds harsh, but not really. The same way you'd hold a parent accountable if a pre-18-year-old was out drinking, getting high, doing drugs, and even looting from the community, is the same way you should hold them accountable when their pre-18-year-old male son is out on the streets of London taking lives. In addition, a pre-18-year-old is under parental supervision. So why shouldn't we hold them accountable? Am I saying that they should be jailed as well? Maybe so, alongside fines, parental programs, and other alternatives. Because there is no reason why so many murderers are being produced, especially amongst pre-18-year-olds. If you enjoyed the video, please give the video a like, comment, subscribe, and even share it, as this channel will be diving into more topics that affect the UK, and sometimes we'll touch on international cases.